The massive chamber buzzed with tension as representatives from 47 different species gathered around the floating conference table. Commander Vex of the Thorian Empire drummed his 6 clawed fingers against the metallic surface, his purple scales shifting with irritation. "All right, everyone. Settle down." Vex's voice boomed through the universal translator. "We are here to discuss the elephant in the room, or should I say, the blue marble?" A collective groan rippled through the assembly. "Oh, come on," squeaked Pip, the diminutive representative of the Squealer Coalition. Her orange fur bristled as she bounced in her oversized chair. "Are we seriously talking about Earth again? That boring little rock with the weird bipeds?" Boring? Admiral Zork of the Crusher Fleet slammed his massive fist on the table, causing several smaller delegates to jump. His gray skin turned a darker shade of irritation. "That boring little rock has been sitting there for millennia, completely undefended, and not one of us has managed to claim it." "Technically," interrupted Dr. Nix, the insectoid scientist from the Hive Collective, clicking her mandibles thoughtfully, "Earth does have some primitive defense systems. Nuclear weapons, conventional armies, that sort of thing." The chamber erupted in laughter. "Nuclear weapons," wheezed General Boom of the Explosive Brigade, his red carapace shaking with mirth. "Oh, that's rich. We are talking about species that can crack planets like eggs, and we are worried about nuclear weapons?" "Exactly my point." Vex stood up, his tail lashing behind him. "We have antimatter cannons, planet crackers, reality-bending weapons, and yet, somehow, that little blue planet remains stubbornly unconquered." Silence fell over the chamber as the weight of that statement sank in. Captain Flux of the Shapeshifter dynasty raised a tentacle. Wait. Are you telling me that nobody here has even tried? I mean, seriously. Not one attempted invasion?" "Oh, plenty have tried," muttered Senator Grimm from the Shadow Realm, his dark form flickering ominously. "The question is, where did they all go?" A chill ran through the assembly. "What do you mean? Where did they go?" Pip's voice had lost its cheerful tone. Senator Grimm's glowing eyes swept across the room. "The Ravager Horde launched a full-scale invasion fleet 3 centuries ago. 5,000 ships, armed to the teeth. They sent regular reports for the first week, then nothing. Complete radio silence." That can't be right," stammered Dr. Nix, her compound eyes blinking rapidly. "The Ravagers were known for their brutality. They conquered 17 systems before heading to Earth, and they were never heard from again," Grimm continued coldly. "Just like the Plasma Lords, the Steel Claw Empire, and the Quantum Raiders. All vanished without a trace after setting course for that seemingly harmless little planet." Admiral Zork's confidence began to waver. But that's impossible. Humans barely have space travel. They can't even leave their own solar system properly. Can't they? Vex pulled up a holographic display showing Earth's position in the galaxy. "Look at the navigation charts, my dear Admiral. Notice anything unusual?" The delegates leaned forward, studying the display intently. "By the 7 moons of Craxus," gasped Captain Flux. "There's a dead zone around Earth. No trade routes, no shipping lanes, no settlements within a 50-light-year radius." "Exactly." Vex pointed dramatically at the hologram. "It's like the entire galactic community has unconsciously agreed to avoid that sector of space." "But why? What could possibly make hardened space pirates, ruthless conquerors, and profit-hungry traders all steer clear of one tiny planet?" "Maybe," suggested Pip nervously, "maybe it's just a coincidence? I mean, space is big, right? Lots of empty sectors." "Oh, sure." Vex's sarcasm was thick enough to cut with a plasma blade. "Just a coincidence that every single military force that's ever approached Earth has mysteriously vanished. Just a coincidence that seasoned traders refuse to establish routes through that sector. Just a coincidence that our most advanced scouts report technical difficulties whenever they get within scanning range." The chamber fell into an uncomfortable silence. Finally, Dr. Nix spoke up, her voice barely above a whisper. "So, what are you suggesting we do about it?" Vex's eyes gleamed with determination. "We are going to find out what makes Earth so special. We are going to solve this mystery once and for all." "And how exactly do you propose we do that?" Admiral Zork asked skeptically. "Simple," Vex grinned, revealing rows of sharp teeth. "We are going to send in a reconnaissance team. A small, undetectable group to observe these humans up close and personal, figure out what their secret is. And if they don't come back?" Pip squeaked. Vex's grin widened. "Then we will know we are dealing with something far more dangerous than nuclear weapons." The meeting adjourned with an ominous sense of foreboding hanging in the air. 3 hours later, the council reconvened in the archive chamber, surrounded by floating holographic displays and data streams. Dr. Nix had pulled every available record from the Galactic Historical Database, and the results were as settling. "Okay, everyone, buckle up," Dr. Nix announced, her mandibles clicking nervously. "Because what I'm about to show you is going to make your exoskeletons crawl." She activated the first display, showing a massive crimson fleet. Let's start with the Bloodfang Armada, approximately 800 years ago. Led by Warlord Slash, they specialized in planetary subjugation, conquered 43 worlds in just 2 decades. "I remember reading about them," Admiral Zork nodded. "A ruthless bunch. What happened when they reached Earth?" "That's the thing," Dr. Nix's voice dropped to an ominous whisper. "According to their final transmission, they achieved orbital superiority within 6 hours. Complete space dominance. The humans had nothing that could touch them." "So they won?" Pip asked hopefully. "That's what they thought," Dr. Nix continued. Warlord Slash's last message was, and I quote, "Pathetic planet secured. Beginning ground assault. These soft creatures will make excellent slaves. Victory is assured." "And then?" Captain Flux prompted. And then silence. Total, complete silence. No distress calls, no follow-up reports, no requests for reinforcements. It's like the entire armada just vanished. Uncomfortable shuffling echoed through the chamber. "But surely," Senator Grimm interjected, "someone investigated. Sent a search party?" "Oh, they tried." Dr. Nix pulled up another display. The Bloodfang High Command sent 3 separate rescue missions over the next 50 years. Guess what happened to those? The silence was deafening. "Let me guess," Vex said dryly. "They all decided to take extended vacations on Earth?" Moving on, Dr. Nix ignored the sarcasm and brought up a new hologram. The Tentacle Terror Syndicate, 600 years ago. Masters of psychological warfare and mind control. They could break entire civilizations without firing a single shot. "I have heard of them," whispered Pip, her fur standing on end. "They made entire planets surrender just by broadcasting scary thoughts." "Exactly. So, when they approached Earth, they figured it would be easy pickings. According to their records, they started with their standard fear broadcasts, expecting immediate planetary surrender. Let me guess, Admiral Zork said grimly, it didn't work? Oh, it worked all right. Dr. Nix's compound eyes gleamed with disturbed fascination. But not the way they expected. Instead of cowering in terror, the humans seemed to enjoy it. Their final transmission mentioned something about humans creating horror movies and haunted houses for entertainment purposes. That's not normal. Captain Flux's form shifted anxiously. Fear is supposed to paralyze prey, not entertain them. It gets worse, Dr. Nix continued. The Tentacle Terror Syndicate reported that humans started making their own scary broadcasts back at them. According to the logs, these human horror stories were so disturbing that half the Syndicate's fleet suffered psychological breakdowns. And the other half? Vex asked, though he wasn't sure he wanted to know. They tried a direct assault. Last transmission, initiating close-quarters psychological combat. These creatures cannot possibly resist our mental dominance. That was 400 years ago. The Tentacle Terror Syndicate officially disbanded shortly after, citing irreconcilable differences with reality. The chamber had grown noticeably colder. "Please tell me it gets better," Pip whimpered. "Oh, sweet little Pip." Dr. Nix's voice carried dark amusement. "We are just getting started." Next up, the Machine Collective, 300 years ago. Pure artificial intelligence, no emotions, no fear, just cold logic and overwhelming firepower. "Machines can't be psychologically broken," Admiral Zork said with forced confidence. "What could humans possibly do to artificial intelligence?" Dr. Nix pulled up a massive display showing geometric ships. The Machine Collective calculated a 99.7% probability of victory. They had superior technology, numerical advantage, and no biological weaknesses to exploit. "Sounds foolproof," Captain Flux admitted grudgingly. That's what they thought. Their attack plan was flawless: disable human communications, eliminate military installations, establish control networks. Standard machine efficiency. "So what went wrong?" Senator Grimm asked, his form flickering with anticipation. According to the Collective's final data burst, the humans did something unexpected. Instead of fighting back with conventional warfare, they started doing something the machines called creative problem-solving and innovative adaptation. "That doesn't sound scary," Pip said hopefully. The machines described it as illogical tactical modifications resulting in unprecedented combat effectiveness. Apparently, humans started turning household items into weapons, using their own infrastructure against the invaders, and employing tactics that violated every known principle of warfare. "Like what?" Vex demanded. "Well, according to the logs, humans figured out how to hack machine systems using something called duct tape and determination. They also employed what the Collective termed suicidal bravery and impossible morale. The final transmission was just error codes, and the phrase 'does not compute' repeated over and over. And they all disappeared too." Admiral Zork's voice was barely audible. "Every last circuit. But here's the truly terrifying part." Dr. Nix paused dramatically. 6 months later, Earth's technological development suddenly accelerated. They went from primitive computers to advanced AI in just a few decades. The implication hung in the air like a toxic cloud. "You are suggesting," Senator Grimm said slowly, "that humans somehow absorbed the Machine Collective?" "I'm not suggesting anything," Dr. Nix replied. "I'm just presenting the data. But I have got 43 more case studies just like these, spanning 8 centuries. Every single invasion force gone without a trace. And every time, Earth seems to come out better than before." The council members stared at each other in growing horror, and finally beginning to understand that they might be dealing with something far more dangerous than they had ever imagined. After the disturbing revelations from the archives, Commander Vex called an emergency strategy session. The tension in the smaller briefing room was so thick you could practically slice it with a neutron blade. "All right, listen up." Vex paced back and forth, his tail swishing with nervous energy. "We need a reconnaissance team, and we need it fast. But this isn't going to be your typical scouting mission. We are dealing with a planet that apparently eats invasion fleets for breakfast." "So what's the plan?" asked Captain Flux, his form rippling with anxiety. "It's simple. We go in small, we go in quiet, and we observe from a distance. No direct contact, no aggressive actions, no announcing ourselves with giant laser cannons blazing." Admiral Zork snorted. "Cowardly approach, if you ask me." "Nobody did ask you," Vex shot back, "and considering that every brave approach has resulted in complete disappearance, maybe cowardly is exactly what we need right now." Dr. Nix activated a holographic roster. "I have compiled a list of potential team members based on their specialties and, more importantly, their survival instincts." "First candidate," she announced, bringing up a profile, Scout Prime of the Stealth Corps. "He successfully infiltrated hostile territories on 17 different worlds without being detected once." A tall, lanky figure materialized in the hologram, covered in adaptive camouflage that shifted colors constantly. Scout Prime specializes in long-range observation and has the remarkable ability to remain completely motionless for up to 6 months. Perfect for watching humans without being noticed. Good choice, Vex nodded. Who else? Analyst Probe from the Data Mining Guild. Dr. Nix continued. She can process and interpret massive amounts of information in real time. If there's a pattern to human behavior, she will find it. The hologram showed a spherical being covered in sensor arrays and blinking lights. Probe has successfully analyzed 43 different species and predicted their behavioral patterns with 94% accuracy. She also has the useful talent of not panicking when faced with the unknown, which might come in handy, muttered Senator Grimm darkly. Next, we have Tech Wizard from the Engineering Brotherhood. Dr. Nix brought up an image of a multi-armed mechanical being. He specializes in understanding alien technology and can reverse engineer almost anything. Why do we need an engineer? Pip asked. Because, Vex explained patiently, if humans really are absorbing the technology of failed invasion forces, we need someone who can figure out how they are doing it. Also, Dr. Nix added, Tech Wizard has a remarkable survival record. He's the only engineer to successfully escape from a collapsing singularity bomb. Twice. Impressive, Captain Flux admitted. Anyone else? Last but not least, Medic Swift from the Healing Alliance. The hologram showed a graceful bird-like creature with multiple medical appendages. She specializes in xenobiology and emergency medicine. Medical support? Admiral Zork looked skeptical. Are we expecting casualties on a simple observation mission? Admiral, Vex said grimly, at this point, I'm expecting everything. If our team runs into trouble, I want someone who can patch them up and get them home alive. Swift also has extensive experience treating psychological trauma, Dr. Nix added quietly. Based on what happened to the Tentacle Terror Syndicate, that might be more important than physical medical care. A sobering silence fell over the room. So that's our team, Vex announced. Scout Prime for stealth observation, Analyst Probe for data interpretation, Tech Wizard for understanding human technology, and Medic Swift for keeping everyone sane and healthy. What about leadership? Asked Senator Grimm. I will be leading the mission personally, Vex declared. This is too important to delegate. And if you don't come back? Pip's voice was barely a squeak. Vex grinned that unsettling toothy grin again. Then you will know we found something worth staying for, or something that didn't give us a choice in the matter. Dr. Nix pulled up the mission timeline. The team will deploy in a modified stealth ship equipped with advanced sensors and cloaking technology. Estimated travel time to Earth, 12 days. The mission duration, 30 days of observation, then mandatory return regardless of findings. Mandatory return? Tech Wizard's mechanical voice crackled through the comm system from the engineering bay. What if we need more time? No extensions, Vex said firmly. 30 days, then we come home. I'm not adding our names to the list of missing fleets. The team was assembled, the ship was prepared, and the course was set. As they departed the station, none of them realized they were about to discover why Earth had remained unconquered for so long. The answer was far more terrifying than they could possibly imagine. 12 days later, the stealth ship Silent Observer hung in Earth's shadow, its cloaking systems humming quietly. Commander Vex stared at the blue-green planet through the viewscreen, trying to suppress the uneasiness crawling up his spine. Okay, team, he announced, we are in position. Scout Prime, deploy your observation drones. Let's see what makes these humans tick. Scout Prime's camouflaged form shimmered as he activated his equipment. Drones launched, Commander. Establishing visual contact with O. O? What kind of O is that? Vex demanded. The confusing kind, sir. I'm picking up thousands of heat signatures in organized clusters. They appear to be living peacefully. Analyst Probe's sensors whirred frantically. Confirmed. No active warfare detected planet-wide. This is unusual for a species that supposedly defeats invasion fleets. Dr. Medic Swift peered over Probe's shoulder, her feathered head tilting in confusion. Maybe they are in a recovery period? Rebuilding after the last invasion attempt? Let's focus on one location, Vex decided. Scout Prime, zoom in on that large settlement on the eastern continent. The main screen filled with images of a bustling human city. Thousands of bipedal creatures moved through structured pathways, operating primitive vehicles and entering tall structures. Fascinating, murmured Tech Wizard, his mechanical appendages clicking excitedly. They have organized themselves into complex social hierarchies. Look at those transportation systems. Primitive, but surprisingly efficient. Wait, Scout Prime's voice carried a note of bewilderment. Are they doing this voluntarily? What do you mean? Vex asked. Well, sir, I see no evidence of forced labor, no slave drivers, no oppression enforcement systems. They just seem to be cooperating with each other. Analyst Probe's sensors blinked rapidly. That can't be right. Check for hidden control mechanisms, mind control devices, fear projectors, compliance chips. Scout Prime's drones swept the area thoroughly. Nothing, Probe. No external control systems detected. They appear to be self-organizing. Self-organizing. Vex's voice cracked slightly. That's impossible. No species can maintain complex civilization without strict hierarchical control. Commander, Medic Swift spoke up nervously. I'm detecting something strange in their biological readings. Their stress hormones are elevated, but not from fear or oppression. Then what's causing it? I think they are stressed about being late for something called work. And there's widespread anxiety about something called traffic. The team stared at each other in confusion. They are voluntarily stressing themselves. Tech Wizard's voice carried disbelief. What kind of psychological warfare is this? Focus on individual specimens, Vex ordered. Maybe smaller groups will make more sense. Scout Prime adjusted his drones to observe a residential area. I have got visual on a family unit, 2 adult specimens and 2 smaller ones. Wait, this is weird. Define weird, Vex said with growing dread. The larger specimens appear to be nurturing, the smaller ones are providing food, protection, education. But here's the strange part. They seem to be enjoying it. Enjoying child rearing? Medic Swift gasped. That's completely contrary to optimal resource allocation. Most species consider offspring a necessary burden at best. It gets weirder, Scout Prime continued. I'm watching one of the small ones fall down and injure itself. The adult immediately stopped all other activities to provide comfort and medical attention. Then, and I swear this is accurate, the adult made exaggerated facial expressions and vocalized in rhythmic patterns until the small one began displaying signs of happiness. Rhythmic vocalizations? Analyst Probe's confusion was evident. You mean like a battle cry? No, Probe. More like they were trying to make the injury hurt less by being silly? Stunned silence filled the bridge. Commander, Tech Wizard spoke up hesitantly. I'm analyzing their technological signatures. These humans have developed something extraordinary. Finally, some advanced weaponry we can understand? Not exactly, sir. They have created a global information network that allows instant communication across their entire planet. Standard stuff for any decent civilization, Vex waved dismissively. Yes, but sir, they are using it to share pictures of small furry animals. What? Ew. And videos of their offspring doing amusing things, and images of their food, and arguments about whether certain colors are actually other colors. Vex felt a headache forming behind his eyes. That makes no tactical sense whatsoever. Wait, there's more, Scout Prime interrupted excitedly. I have found a group engaged in what appears to be ritualistic combat. Finally. Show me their warrior training. The screen shifted to show humans in a large open area, chasing a spherical object and attempting to move it between 2 posts. This is their military exercise? Admiral Zork's voice crackled through the comm system from the home base. I think so? Scout Prime sounded uncertain. They are displaying remarkable coordination, physical prowess, and strategic thinking. But they are also celebrating when they succeed. And the ones watching are making loud, supportive noises. You mean they enjoy combat training? Medic Swift asked in horror. It appears so. And here's the really disturbing part. When the ritual combat ends, both sides congratulate each other and share beverages. They are fraternizing with the enemy, Vex exclaimed. That's completely against every principle of warfare. Commander, Analyst Probe spoke up quietly. I think we need to reconsider our assumptions about these creatures. What do you mean? Well, sir, we have been operating under the premise that humans are weak because they appear peaceful. But what if? What if their peacefulness isn't weakness? What if it's a choice? The implications of that statement hung in the air like a toxic cloud. You are suggesting, Vex said slowly, that humans are capable of violence but choose not to engage in it most of the time? Look at the evidence, Commander. They voluntarily organize complex societies. They care for their young beyond necessity. They share resources and information freely. They turn combat into entertainment and competition into friendship. So what kind of species has the luxury of being peaceful by choice? What kind of creature is so secure in its survival that it can afford to be nice? Tech Wizard's mechanical voice carried a note of dawning horror. Commander, I'm detecting massive underground installations across the planet. Hardened bunkers, weapons storage, defensive networks. This isn't a defenseless planet. This is a fortress that's pretending to be a garden. And the most terrifying part, Medic Swift whispered, is that they are not even using most of it. All this defensive capability, all this potential for destruction, and they are choosing to chase balls around and share pictures of cute animals instead. Commander Vex stared at the peaceful scenes playing out on his view screen, finally beginning to understand why so many invasion fleets had simply vanished. They hadn't been defeated by Earth's weapons. They had been defeated by Earth's restraint. And that was infinitely more terrifying than any superweapon could ever be. 3 days into their observation mission, Scout Prime's excited voice crackled over the intercom, interrupting what had become an increasingly disturbing routine of watching humans be nice to each other. Commander, you need to see this right now. Let me guess, Vex replied wearily. They are sharing more pictures of small animals. Oh, sir. I have found a restricted area with massive energy signatures. It looks like some kind of training facility. Finally, Vex practically lunged toward the view screen. Show me their warrior academies. Let's see what passes for military training on this backwards planet. The screen flickered to life, revealing a vast desert landscape dotted with structures and vehicles. But what they saw next made every alien on the ship freeze in stunned silence. By the 7 sons of Arcturus, Tech Wizard whispered, his mechanical voice stuttering. Are those